But Jared Goff went to Detroit to have his career die.
So while Goff may be something of a financial burden now, in 2 years, the Lions can move on from Jared Goff's contract without any dead cap money at all.
But any success other than that was acquitted or given to Sean McVay. And as Jared Goff leaves, does this mean the end of his career?
And going into what is a rebuild in Detroit to a team who knows if they really even like him that much, if they just wanted the picks.
Does the sting of the trade still stick with you?
Of course, it always will.
The Detroit Lions have shown off a masterclass of roster construction and how to execute a rapid rebuild. Across the draft, free agency, and that trade, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have delivered a near-perfect hit rate ever since they arrived in 2021. Going from 3 wins in that 2021 campaign to 12 and a division title in 2023 is no joke. What happened over those first 3 years is a lesson for all franchises out there, and it began with one of the best trades in NFL history. That trade is, of course, the move for Jared Goff. For Brad Holmes, the decision to trade away a franchise legend in Matthew Stafford as one of your first acts in your new job is bold. You don't need me to tell you that the quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports, and to optionally hand away a damn good one is risky beyond belief. Except, Holmes and Campbell never saw it that way. They always believed in Jared Goff. While the rest of the league dismissed him as little more than a throw-in to sweeten the Stafford trade, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell saw a franchise quarterback at bargain prices. Nobody denies that Matthew Stafford was a superior quarterback at the time, but his 12 years with the team had amounted to nothing. Something had to change, and you don't get significant change without making significant moves. So, out went the franchise quarterback, and in came 2 first-round picks over the 2022 and 2023 drafts, a 2021 third-rounder, and, of course, Jared Goff. Little did Detroit Lions fans know that that trade had just changed their franchise forever. Holmes and Campbell never agreed with the public perception that Jared Goff was merely a bridge quarterback.
But I never forget Les asked me, he was like, do you want Jared in this trade? And I was like, hell yeah. Like, absolutely. Like, it wasn't like, just give me any quarterback. No, I was like, no, I want Jared in this trade.
They strongly believed in him, built up his confidence, and, in doing so, have made him a legendary figure in his new city.
Jared Goff! Jared Goff! Jared Goff! What's up, Detroit? Let's go, baby!
But it takes much more than just belief and confidence to execute a turnaround, particularly for a franchise as downtrodden as Detroit. It takes young talent, and lots of it. Thankfully, Brad Holmes knows a thing or two about finding that. Like any good general manager, Holmes took the 3 draft picks he got in exchange for Stafford and figured out how he could get even more value from them. He wheeled and dealed and managed to turn those 3 draft picks into 5 players. In total, the Lions gave away Matthew Stafford and in return got Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Jameson Williams, Josh Pascal, and Ifeatu Melifonwu. Oh, and don't forget about Jared Goff as well. Now that is how you repopulate the roster. But the exciting thing for Detroit Lions fans is that Brad Holmes did so much more than just execute that one hell of a trade. He also earned a 5-star rating for what he did in the draft. The Lions GM set the tone well with Penei Sewell as the first draft selection of his tenure in 2021, with Sewell quickly established himself as one of the league's very best tackles. Then, later in that same draft class, an under-the-radar 4th-round wide receiver was brought into the mix as well, in the form of Amon-Ra St. Brown. And what's he done since entering Motor City? Well, he's only gone and become arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, with an average of 1,200 yards per season over his first 4. That's 2 of your most important positions locked up in 2021. Before Holmes found St. Brown a running mate 1 year later in the form of Jameson Williams. This field stretching machine is a big play waiting to happen, and he became even more of a handful when Holmes brought in both Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta 1 year later in the 2023 draft. That right there is a homegrown offense that gives Jared Goff an embarrassment of riches, and they quickly became one of the most fearsome units in the league, ranking 5th for points in 2023, before topping the tables with a whopping 33 points per game in 2024. Obviously, then offensive coordinator Ben Johnson deserves a ton of praise at this point, having been promoted to the role in 2022. He then masterminded one of the most creative, dangerous, and entertaining offenses in the entire NFL, which would eventually make him the hottest coach on the market in 2025. Now to the defensive side of the ball. As should always be the case for a rebuilding team, trench play was clearly the priority for Holmes in the 2021 draft. He followed up his pick of Penei Sewell with the selections of defensive tackles Levi Onwuzurike and Alim McNeil, who are both sturdy and reliable forces on the interior. They were joined by Aidan Hutchinson 1 year later in the 2022 draft, who has looked like a defensive player of the year caliber weapon ever since he stepped onto the gridiron. Josh Pascal, Jack Campbell, and Hard Knocks hero Malcolm Rodriguez also arrived in 2022. The best value in that class though has to be third rounder Kirby Joseph, who has since turned into one of the best safeties in the entire NFL. Still, that didn't stop Holmes from dipping into the safety market again 1 year later in the 2023 draft, when he found a perfect partner for Joseph in Brian Branch. That pairing has been a nightmare for NFL quarterbacks ever since. That is a truly astonishing 3-year stretch of hits, finding legitimate star power to act as pillars on both sides of the ball. I normally try to not bombard my viewers with a long list of names in quick succession, but when it comes to Brad Holmes, it's kind of difficult not to. That right there is an elite offensive and defensive overhaul found entirely from the draft between 2021 and 2023. Aided massively, of course, by the collection of 3 draft picks for Matthew Stafford. Everyone knows the blueprint to fixing a team and building a dynasty begins in the draft, but it is a lot easier said than done. At least for everyone bar Brad Holmes. But the draft isn't the only avenue to bring in talent. There's also free agency, and would you believe it, Holmes has smashed it out of the park there as well. Alex Anzalone was one of his first signings, before bringing back Graham Glasgow in 2023 in a free agency period that he also welcomed David Montgomery. This wasn't initially a popular move, signalling the end for fan favourite Jamal Williams, and the move looked even more confusing when Jahmyr Gibbs was selected in the first round, considering DeAndre Swift was already on the roster. Obviously, it didn't take long for Holmes to be proven right, as his, Dan Campbell, and Ben Johnson's vision of elite running back stable took form in that 2023 season, as the partnership of Sonic and Knuckles was born. Honestly, it really does feel like everything Brad Holmes touches turns to gold, particularly in the draft. I have only focused on the crunch years between 2021 and 2023 here, but the good hits have continued to roll in ever since. More importantly, the wins have also been rolling in. After a year of finding their feet in 2021, in which the Lions posted a 3-13-1 record, Detroit got 9 wins in 2022 and 12 wins in 2023. Then, in one of the greatest nights of Detroit sporting history, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell got to watch their homegrown roster of stone cold killers deliver Motor City its first playoff victory in over 3 decades. NFL rebuilds don't normally happen this quickly, and I hope this video helps celebrate a truly momentous effort from 2 of the best in the business, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Thanks a lot for watching my video, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to like and subscribe for more fun throughout the season.